Hello everyone, back to today's third and final video. So we're going to have a look at the next 10 to 14 days for today's third video. So we're going to include all regular features, of course, and day 10 is going to take us to around the 13th of October. We've had to extend out beyond that, we get GFS and ECM ensembles running to around a couple of weeks. And we'll have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. Been a busy day at GavsWeatherVids today. We started off with the October month-ahead forecast. So yes, we've released GavsWeatherVids October forecast. We may have our second colder than average month of the year coming up this month. Have a look at the October forecast, see what's going on there. And, of course, weekend forecast as always on a Saturday, your weekend look ahead. I'll tell you what's coming up tomorrow at the end of this video. If you're a channel member, please check into the channel members live stream at 5 o'clock this afternoon. And we'll spend an hour together and have a chat. And going to be a really nice little live stream for channel members, and that will be from 5 o'clock this afternoon. There was an incredible live stream last night, by the way, and we picked up 3 channel members last night. So 3 new channel members last night. All of those channel members are going to get a shout out in videos next week. They'll have their own individual video shout out, and that'll be coming up from Monday next week. Also had lots and lots of donations, super chats as well. So big thank you as always to all of our super chats. Thank you so much to all of you for doing that. Right, okay, so let's get on with this one then. I'm going to start off in the Tropic Atlantic. Now, things are beginning to liven up after a bit of a shutdown last week. We've definitely got more disturbance areas to go at now. So we have got 3 yellow X's, 1, 2 and 3. These are disturbance areas. Let's deal with them one by one. So we've got disturbance 3 up here. That's got a 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days, and a 10% chance in the next 5 days. It doesn't look as though that's going to do a great deal, really. Then we've got this one just here, which is disturbance 2. That's got a 10% chance cyclone formation in the next 2 days, and a 20% chance cyclone formation in the next 5 days. Again, that one doesn't look like it could do a great deal either. We've got disturbance 1. This looks a little bit more significant. This is disturbance 1 down here, a long way southwards, so in the Caribbean. So this is disturbance 1 with a 20% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days, but a 50% chance, a higher chance, in the next 5 days. So we'll have a read about this one. They say a tropical wave is producing widespread cloudiness, showers and thunderstorms over the eastern and central Caribbean Sea, with locally heavy rainfall and gusty winds affecting portions of the ABC Islands, the Lesser Antilles, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and portions of the coast of Colombia and Venezuela. Environmental conditions are expected to become a little more conducive for development, and a tropical depression could form next week while the system moves westward to northwestward at around 15 miles per hour across the central and western Caribbean Sea, and then into the southern Gulf of Mexico. It looks like that one is going to do something potentially a little bit like that, heading in that sort of direction, I think, and getting into southern parts of the Gulf of Mexico sometime next week. And then we also have tropical storm Gamma just here. Of course, we have now gone into the Greek alphabet after using up all of the official names from the start of season from National Hurricane Center NOAA. We've now gone into the Greek alphabet. So this is tropical storm Gamma. And that is giving maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour, with a minimum set pressure of 987 millibars, and moving northwestwards at 9 miles per hour. Clicking on Gamma, and going just here, we can see that Gamma is forecast to remain as a tropical storm until the middle of next week. So the current position of Gamma is just there. Going to sort of curve excuse me, going to sort of curve around this Yucatan Peninsula coast, doing something a little bit like that, sticking very close to the coastline, and then moving into southern Gulf of Mexico by the middle of next week. I would assume that as this, I mean, it's a tropical storm as it's curving around the coast here, and that's fair enough because it's very close to the coast. But I would assume by the time it gets like into the Gulf of Mexico just there, offshore, there is the possibility that that might power up. It may do. We'll have to wait and see. But I would have thought as it comes away from the coast, like into the warm waters of the far southern Gulf of Mexico, it might sort of develop a little bit more maybe as it gets over water. But we should wait and see. At the moment, that just looks like it'll be a tropical storm up to the middle of next week. Of course, a tropical storm will produce copious amounts of rain for southern parts of for South America. And yeah, very strong winds as well can be expected with that. As we've already established, Gamma is currently giving maximum sustained of 65 miles per hour, which means gusts will be going in excess of 80 miles per hour. I know that Joe Bastardi is a little bit more worried about this area of development just here, though. I think Joe was tweeting yesterday, but it might do something a little bit like that, going that sort of direction, possibly power up to a hurricane. But keep an eye on Joe Bastardi's Twitter about that in the coming days. Joe, of course, is the expert in hurricanes. So things are livening up again after a bit of a shutdown over the past few days. Right, central temperature is looking like this. So confirmation, we confirm that September came out at 13.9. So we knew about a couple of days ago, but that is the confirmation now that that September's CET came out at 13.9. Absolutely remarkable, considering that on the 24th of September we was at 15.4. So we shaved off over a degree and a half from the CET in the last week of September, which doesn't sound like a great deal. That is a large amount to lose in the final week of the month, because generally the CET sort of settles down and doesn't move as much in the last week and getting to the closing days of the month. It tends to move much less compared to earlier on in the month. So that was really remarkable. We came out at just 0.3 of a degree above average. So basically, we was within half a degree of average, which means we really had an average sort of CT for September. Now, October, for the first 2 days of the month, it's a provisional up to the second, we're standing at 10.8, which is actually below average. It's an anomaly of minus 1.3. It's an anomaly of over a degree below average, can you believe? Of course, by the end of the month, that would be a little bit above average, because October is, on average, a rapidly cooling month from beginning to end. So you expect October to get progressively colder as the month progresses. So if we was to stay there at 10.8, that would actually be a little bit above average, still within more or less within half a degree, but it would be a little bit above average if it stayed there. But for the anomaly to like the second, for the first 2 days of October, that is actually over a degree below average. If we was to keep that anomaly going to the end of the month, of course, then we would have a significantly colder than average October. But of course, we're only 2 days in, and we wait to see where that's going to go. But we are with the October forecast sort of expecting, pitching that we may get our second below average month of the year. We've only had one so far, which was July. We think October might be our second cooler than average month of the year. That's July, and that was even within half a degree of 61 to 1990 average as well. That was at 15.7. But I think that was like our only cooler than average month this year. Otherwise, all the other months have been above average, or with September very close to average. So it's been a really warm year, but it could be that we're on a little bit of a cool down right now. These are the 500 millibar high anomaly flow charts from Penn State University for the next week to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF on the top. The GFS is down here on the bottom. So 500 millibars is an area in actually high pressure, low pressure. I've been moved around by the jet stream. Red extrapolates to above average heights, which is high pressure. Blue to below average heights, which is low pressure. So you can see it with the ECM. There's a trough of below average heights sitting over into the south of the country, and a ridge of above average heights, a blocking ridge in the North Atlantic and going up towards Greenland as well. That places us on the cool side of the jet stream, doing something like that with flow and with the jet. So we're looking cool, possibly very cool and unsettled, with the ECM pulling down the wind from a northerly direction. That's proper northern blocking feature as well. That's a mid-Atlantic ridge going all the way back into Greenland and extending up to the Arctic as well. That is a proper northern blocking sort of feature that we've got there. The GFS is very similar, again, with the above average. It's not quite as extensive with the blocking, but very similar. again, the above average heights out to our north and northwest. There's a trough, a cut-off trough down to our south. The flow of jet doing something a little bit like that. So again, we're looking cool, and we're looking cool in the 7-10-day time frame. Possibly not quite as unsettled as the ECM, actually, because I mean, both of them are blocking off the Atlantic, so both of them are turning drier. But I think out of the two, the ECM is probably the most unsettled, because that's the one that has the deeper trough of low pressure over and to the south of the country. Right, got a little bit of refreshing going on with the tabs, so I'm going to have to pause the video and go to the tabs, refresh, because you don't want to see that, and I'll meet you back in around 2 seconds. Right, we're back. Tabs refreshed. Okay, so looking at the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles next couple of weeks here. So the red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average. We're at Yeovil today, which is a suggested location for this part of the video. So if you'd like to have your local town or city featured within this part of the video, please let us know either in the comments, or you can email us at GavsWeatherVids@gmail.com, or ask us on our social media accounts, and we are always happy to feature your local town or city when we can. Right, so red light is 30-year upper air temperature average for Yeovil. Bit up and down at the moment, so we're actually in a slightly warmer sector today. Going to be cooler tomorrow, then warmer again early next week, then cooler, then warmer. So that all looks rather zonal. Up to like the middle of next week. Beyond that, we go cooler than average for several days. The temperature dips down below average towards the end of next week and into next weekend. That's as we pull in northerly winds. As we go into the middle and then on to the second half of October, possibly just in a slight recovery in the temperature then. But nothing excessive, no sign of anything particularly warm coming up. I mean, there are one or two warm outliers here, but equally, there are a few cold outliers as well. Generally, most of these ensemble members are quite close to average. Rainfall-wise, we've got a deluge at the moment, of course. This deluge is going to go on through the rest of today, tonight into tomorrow, so further heavy rain to come. And after that, through next week, looking rather showery, not as wet as it has been, but there will be rain around through the course of next week. Perhaps going a little bit drier, end of next week into next weekend. That's as the temperature is dropping as well. So high pressure troubles in from the Atlantic, it turns drier, but it also turns colder. I mean, as we run into the second half of October, maybe a few hints anyway, but it starts to go a little bit more unsettled once again. Temperature anomalies from the 3rd to the 11th of October, looking a little bit cooler than average, not as cool as these anomaly charts have been. Rainfall anomalies from the 3rd to the 11th of October, wetter than average. So it remains unsettled. It's got the deluge right now. It remains unsettled, and it remains quite cool as well. Latest Windflow Map from earthnullschool.net is looking like this. So you can see where the low pressure is. The low pressure is centered just here, really, and just there. And we're wrapping the winds around that area of low pressure a little bit like that. Low pressure is well and truly in control, and it is very unsettled. We are on the cool side of the jet stream as well. By the way, the jet stream is doing something a little bit like that. So yes, we are on the cool side of the jet stream right now. Right, so this is how the UK Met is looking for Tuesday. Low pressure in control. There'll be showers and maybe some longer spells of rain around for the early part of next week. But I think the trend through next week, through the first half of next week anyway, is probably to turn things a little bit drier, actually. So things should go a little bit drier, but there will still be showers around. I mean, most likely in the north and in the west. And yeah, there will be like a chilly northwesterly wind blowing as well. The second half of next week, again, we bring low pressure back in from off the Atlantic. That could bring another spell of wet and windy weather. The UK Met is not developing this low pressure, though, as much as the GFS, which I'm going to show you right now. Look at the difference of Thursday. But start off on Tuesday with, again, showery conditions across the country. Not as wet as it is this weekend. That's Wednesday, again, looking a little bit showery. Now, look how much deeper the GFS develops this area of low pressure on Thursday compared to the UK Met. So that's a proper storm there with the GFS. That could be Storm Aidan if it was to develop as much as that. And that's giving gale force winds to northern and western parts of the country as it transfers across Scotland during the course of Thursday into Friday. That could give gale force winds in the north. But remember, the UK Met is not developing that as much as the GFS is doing. By the time we get through to next weekend, that low pressure has screwed off up to Norway, and we're bringing in a ridge from off the Atlantic. Winds are turning to the north, so this is where the drop in temperature comes from. Whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. Is wherever dropping temperature comes from, it gets colder, but also turns drier as the high pressure moves in from off the Atlantic. So next weekend could bring the first sort of proper night frost of the season to many parts of the country. Moving up towards day 10, we keep high pressure centred over or just to the west of the country. Stays mainly dry and probably still quite chilly north to northwest winds coming around the top of that high pressure. Beyond day 10, to more extended range, heading into the middle part of October, we look like this. High pressure is over to the east country, bringing in the winds from an easterly direction. So probably still quite cool, a little bit showery. That's how we're going to get to the very end of this GFS run, which today is to the 19th of October. And another weather system coming in from off the Atlantic. It looks like the middle phase of October isn't going to be as wet as the first week to 10 days, though, I have to say. So it looks like things will go drier through the middle third of the month. But still with some rain around at times, but possibly a little bit on the colder side. GM looks like that. Again, low pressure is in the ascendancy on Tuesday, bringing showers. The showery conditions continuing to Wednesday as well. Then another area of low pressure possibly coming in from the northwest sometime around the second half of next week. That's this low pressure just here, might bring about a gale force winds into northern parts of the country. Next weekend we'll see that low pressure transferring eastwards, moving out into the North Sea, winds turning to the north. Got a mid-Atlantic ridge here, mid-Atlantic ridge heading up towards Greenland, so going more towards northern blocking actually with the GEM compared to GFS. That's pulling down winds from further north actually, winds coming down from further north as we go into next weekend. So again, looking quite cold next weekend with northerly winds on the mid-Atlantic ridge, but also combined with some Greenland blocking. As we get towards day 10, the GM looks like that. It's keeping us quite cold, really. Winds remaining from the north. It is a long fetch northerly, by the way. If you follow the isobars back, the air originates all the way up there and is plunging southwards. So that is a proper long fetch northerly that we've got there, all being produced by a mid-Atlantic ridge and a Greenland high. So, you know, that looks quite unusual for the middle of October, which tends to be rather westerly. We're not all that far from the minus 10 Celsius, from the minus 5 Celsius ice firm, I should say. The minus 10 Celsius ice firm is a long way away from us up in the Norwegian Sea, but we're not that far from Northern Scotland anyway, in Northern Scotland, from the minus 5 Celsius ice firm. So definitely cold enough for relatively widespread frost, I would have thought, there by day 10 with the GM. And the ECM looks like that. We know this one also has a little bit more of a blocking feature compared to the GFS. So this is the ECM for Tuesday, though, with low pressure bringing further showers across the country. Bearing into that sort of chilly northwesterly wind. Quite a deep area of low pressure north of Scotland. By Thursday, that might bring some gales into the north through the second half of next week, and then that low pressure moves off to Norway. We get the mid-Atlantic ridge going up towards Greenland. We turn wind into the north again with the ECM. So yeah, this is looking pretty blocked as well, with high pressure out to our north and northwest, heading up towards Greenland. Low pressure just here. Winds are pulling into the north. That looks like it's going colder as well. That's how it looks as we get to day 10. Which is Tuesday, 13th of October. Again, rather strange looking weather patterns, these, with high pressure now forming around the Norwegian Sea between like Iceland and Greenland and Norway. A mid-Atlantic ridge is also there to some degree, although there's a trough coming through here, or weather front coming through here. And we just look rather cold there, definitely cold enough for frost, and, you know, getting into quite a blocked sort of scenario, which again, for October, is quite unusual, because October tends to be westerly. October tends to be a zonal type Atlantic driven month. So it is all looking rather unusual, I have to say, with these weather patterns that we're seeing at the moment. But you remember, something quite similar happened last October. It meant absolutely nothing at all for the winter. By the winter, we've reverted back to our westerlies. So just keep that in mind. Right, this is how the rainfall forecast is looking based on that ECM run from TometoShow.com. So obviously, we've got the deluge going on at the moment. There's going to be loads of heavy rain continuing all the way through the weekend, really. Gradually pushing westwards with time. But even tomorrow afternoon and evening, there's going to be further showers, longer spells of rain rattling around the country into Monday. So then we start to bring in westerlies. So this is more of a typically showery type scenario for the early part of next week. We keep things pretty showery into the second half of next week as well. Remember, the ECM and the GM are not developing, and the UK Met not developing the area of low pressure on Thursday as much as the GFS is doing. That is a proper storm that the GFS has for Thursday. By next weekend, still looking rather cool and showery, and winds going into the north as well, so temperatures dropping as we move towards day 10. That's all as we get to day 10. Some showers around, quite a bit of dry weather, and it will be relatively cold. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 13th of October via the Icelandic Met Office. We have 16 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure to our north and west, low pressure to our south. Winds are in from a cool east to northeast direction. That's going to be drier than it is at the moment anyway, but it will be quite cold. 13, again, high pressure to our north, low pressure to our south. Incoming winds from the east. Again, that's going to be relatively dry again, but will be quite cold. 13 up here, another 13 with blocking towards Greenland and low pressure to our south-southeast. This includes the operational run, by the way. That's a little bit more unsettled and quite cold. And then we've got 9 with high pressure just out to our west. Again, quite a bit of dry weather involved with that. Winds coming around the top of high from the north to northwest. It looks quite chilly, I have to say, for day 10. Most of those options are favouring some sort of high pressure away to the north and northwest, which will pull in winds from like a north to northeasterly direction, probably. And so most options are favouring pretty cool conditions. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 18th of October. 18 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure to our east, low pressure to our west. Again, going to be quite a dry weather with that, and a little bit warmer probably, or milder. Winds coming up from a south-southeasterly direction. 12 with high pressure over to the north of the country, winds coming around the high from an easterly direction. 10 with deep low pressure over country and the mid-Atlantic region combined, so that's going to be quite cold and unsettled. It's a minority option though. 7 with high pressure ridging through the country up to Scandinavia, winds are in from an easterly direction. That's going to be mainly dry and quite chilly. And 4 with high pressure again out to our west and going up towards Greenland, low pressure to our east. That's going to be quite cold and dry with winds in from the north. Generally, most of those options are favouring high pressure around this middle part of October. But the position of the ridge for most of the options does look as though it's going to be quite cold, certainly with a risk of overnight frost. Finally, CFSV2, so these are 500 millibar heights broken down to week pairs. The first week period will take us from the 3rd to the 9th of October. Coming week is unsettled, low pressure over top of the country, mid-Atlantic ridge. We're on the cool side of the jet stream. So, yep, we're cool and unsettled in the week ahead. Week 2 is the 10th to the 16th of October. So, a trough of low pressure hanging around the UK and Western Europe. High pressure up towards Greenland. That could bring in the wind from an east to northeasterly direction. Quite cool and unsettled with that one. Week 3 is going to be the 17th to 23rd of October. High pressure to our east and northeast, low pressure out to west. Winds are coming up from a more of a southeasterly direction, so it's mainly dry with that, and possibly seeing the temperature becoming a little bit milder there as well, maybe. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 24th to the 30th of October. High pressure around Spain and the Azores, but also blocking around Green, which is quite unusual. Low pressure in the Atlantic and away to our northeast. That's a very complicated pattern. And with high pressure around Green, it's quite unusual to get high pressure from the Azores to Spain. So something would have to give there probably with one of those areas of high pressure. And so that's a scenario where we could either go into like a mild west-southwesterly, see a return of milder conditions, or alternatively, of course, if the high pressure was to pull out and go north up to the Greenland block, then we would set low pressure up. Let's get rid of all that. So if the high pressure was to push northwards up towards the Greenland block, then the trough of low pressure would probably back westwards, and we would then go onto cold side jet stream. We'd have cold northerly winds for the last days or last week of October. A cold northerly could set in then, which is what we're expecting with the GavsWeatherVids October forecast. I'll let that cat out of the bag now for anybody who hasn't seen the October forecast. Right, last thing I'm going to tell you is that if you enjoyed this video, then please can you give us a like. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids, and we're on the grind to 8k subs. We have reached 7,600 subscribers. It's amazing, it's incredible. Thank you so much, everybody, for getting us 7,600 subscribers. Got another 400 to put on, and then we will be at 8k subs. When we get to 8k subs, we're going to be giving away a £30 Amazon voucher in a live stream, so that's going to be absolutely amazing. And we are on the grind now, well and truly, to 8k. Right, so that's it for your videos for today. So, now we've got channel members live stream coming up at 5 o'clock, so check into that if you are a channel member. Tomorrow, very big day, we've got the 5th Winter 2020-21 Update Part 1. That's going to be looking at things like sea surface temperature anomalies, what's going on with ENSO, solar activity, all of that good stuff will be included. I can tell we're looking at Eurasian snow cover, and things are developing now in terms of snow cover over Siberia. More about that in tomorrow's 5th Winter 2020-21 update. There's going to be a little update for Christmas. Yes, written Christmas update at GavsWeatherVids.com tomorrow afternoon. That's just getting the Christmas page ready and started and indexed by Google's, Google search. So that'll be a little bit of fun tomorrow afternoon. And then, of course, tomorrow evening from 6 o'clock, we will be live streaming. No doubt we'll all be discussing that 5th winter update, and we'll show you some long-range winter stuff as well, probably CANSIPs and CFS V2. So a big day to come tomorrow, all revolving around winter and Christmas and all of that. Real long-range special coming up tomorrow. But for today's videos, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.